If you're like me, Clown in a Cornfield and Clown in a Cornfield 2, Friendo Lives, left a corncob-shaped void in my heart when I finished reading them. Thankfully, I found Curse of the Reaper by Brian McAuley, and boy howdy do I have a recommendation for you. Now, I want to start by saying I have nothing but good things to say about this book. Usually I have some pluses, some minuses, but this one gets 5 skulls from me, and I do not dole out skulls willy-nilly. I'm that teacher who says there's no such thing as a perfect grade, and I'll give you a 98 out of 100 just because that's life, but not with Curse of the Reaper. This book sat on my TBR list for a while, and I wish I had read it sooner. You know how that goes. Now, this book is taut. Described as Scream meets The Shining, I can see that, but it actually has more in common with Wes Craven's New Nightmare or even Brain Scan than anything else. That comparison is not a bad thing, just an observation. The plot is pretty meta, I know, what isn't these days, but it's done in a way that mirrors real life and our favorite horror franchises. It actually has more to say about fans of the genre than perhaps the genre itself, and I think that really makes the book stand out and stand on its own. Things kick off with pages of a script, the first film in an 8-movie franchise that centers on an iconic villain called the Reaper. And I love the script pages that are woven in throughout this book because they are so over the top. You can tell that Brian McAuley is a true horror fan. The fanboy gatekeepers out there will know he knows his stuff. Like any good slasher franchise, the Reaper films have it all. A revenge backstory, an iconic weapon and outfit, a summer camp, wayward youths, a cornfield with a rave set therein, snappy catchphrases, an expedition to space, and the list goes on and on. Anyway, we quickly meet Howard Browning, the Robert Englund of it all, if you will, and he's down on his luck. He's running the convention circuit circa 2006, if I'm not mistaken. He's excited to learn a remake is in the works. Now, the action of the story coincides with the remake boom of that time. You remember Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Prom Night, Halloween, House of Wax, Hills Have Eyes, Friday the 13th, you get it. Now, I said that Howard is excited. Maybe excited isn't the right word, but there are some extenuating circumstances, no spoilers here. And long story short, Howard finds himself pitted against Trevor Maine, a troubled child actor fresh out of rehab, who also is up for the role based on his star appeal, or tabloid appeal, really. Again, I feel like Brian and I had the same childhood and maybe could have been 3rd grade best friends because his description of the TGIF-like show that Trevor starred in is so spot on. Think of Full House, think of Urkel, one of those precocious child stars that is just saccharine sweet. And all of this comes across as so natural, not contrived, and so lifelike. Campy, but not too campy. We actually see behind the scenes into Trevor's thought processes, his reactions to fans who approach him in the streets. It gets pretty deep. Things take a psychological slow burn turn as we get to know the two men up for the Reaper role in alternating chapters. We're tackling themes of sobriety, age discrimination. You really feel for these characters. It doesn't take too long, though, before some scary things happen, leaving Howard to question whether The Reaper truly is a work of fiction or if somehow he's done something to unleash the character into the real world. I'll stop there because the rest is just so good, I don't want to spoil a single thing. The humor, the twists, the characterization. I'm adding Brian McAuley to my list of must-read authors, and I think you will too. This one is just so fresh. I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed it. I probably sound like a broken record at this point. So tell me, have you read this one? Do you plan to? What do you think is next for this IP? A sequel, a limited series? Let me know in the comments and let's keep this conversation going, please.